and welcome to Monday's lazy edition of Wake and Bake News. And I'm your host, Shampoo VTA Kelly Davis. And how are you on this Monday morning? This is now June 20th, 2016. And you would not believe the crazy, weird, fucking hilarious thing that happened this weekend. Not to me, okay, but in the news with marijuana. So, I like to go to Reddit. And I like to, because I'm digging. I got a pick and a shovel and a hard hat and a light and a fucking, Tweety bird. And I'm going into the coal mine to go digging for treasure, right? Every day. So I went digging in the marijuana forums, which is our trees, or you can just put marijuana into the search, in Reddit. And I came across a story that said that a reporter had gotten from some DEA lawyer here in California that the DEA is going to reschedule marijuana to Schedule II in August. And this would legalize medical marijuana in all 50 states immediately, and that it would completely make recreational marijuana illegal. Well, I mean, what is illegality anymore when, it was illegal all before, but nothing seemed to stop. So it's like, it's an insane story. And I don't believe it's true. And I'm not alone. Tom Engel from, I believe it's Safe Access, was also saying, highly suspect story. Apparently the writer's only been writing for 2 weeks. The website looks very sketchy. Now 25 news agencies have picked up this story and are running with it and debating whether or not it's true. Tom Engel said that he believed that if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, he believed that rescheduling would take place, and it would take place a lot sooner. It would be July 1st, because it would be before the 4th of July. Strangely enough, Willie Nelson's son has just done a campaign to basically get Congress to legalize hemp for hemp production in Kentucky. And because they're, trying to get into growing hemp, which is where all the real money's going to be in this thing. As amazing as marijuana is for helping people with medical issues, wait till you see what it does to all the goddamn plastic around us and the oil companies and stuff. You're going to say, oh my God, why didn't we do this sooner? When you find out that we could suck all the carbon out of the air with these plants and then turn these plants into hempcrete and lock that carbon away for 1 million years, you're going to go, why isn't every American required to grow hemp and store carbon and clean our atmosphere with these plants? When you find this out, your mind's going to go boom. And you're going to say, this really was a huge conspiracy hidden behind Cheech and Chong joke. That this was a serious industry that was crippled by other people that were already invested in very destructive industries. And when you find out what can be done with this hemp plant outside of marijuana, the vast uses it has, your mind will go, boom. Okay. So I believe that, yeah, they're going to reschedule, and they're going to reschedule to Schedule II. And yes, they are going to try to make it an excuse to lock down on legalization for recreational, but that's not going to work. It's not going to work, period. It's not going to work. They're going to get dragged kicking and screaming into the future, compromising little pieces of prohibition away until there's hardly a fucking thing left of it. And this story, I think, is a way to try to goat the DEA into coming out with a statement, because they're holding their cards very close to their chest, and summer's now begun, and they're supposed to make some sort of an announcement. And July 1st is what Tom Engel's saying, which is earlier than August 1st. So August 1st is like, if you don't say something by then, people who believe this story are going to be pissed at you. So it kind of forces them in a position to try to refute the story or just leave it hang. And if they leave it hang, it becomes true, whether it is or not. So I'm going to read you this. It's super interesting. And, oh yeah, let's jumbo before I do. I'm out of weed after this weekend, but I've been doing all the sugar leaf trimming because I trimmed all my plants down from the big leaves to now much smaller leaves, less than 4 inches sticking out from the plant, and this is shaping the buds, right? So I have the sugar leaves and they're smelling a lot less like fucking grass and a lot more like weed. And it's having more effect. And plus there's but like little sucker branch buds and stuff I mixed in with it. So it's still not fabulous, but getting better. And my plants are looking really good. I'm very happy with how they're looking. But I can take this bud and just use this. Like what I did was I made lotion. I can cook with it. Well, not bud, but you know what I mean, leaf and stuff. And even though it doesn't necessarily get you totally stoned like good bud would, it still is not invaluable. It's very valuable. Like the lotion I made is working great. I am very happy with that. If my hands are sore or something from guitar playing, I can go and put that lotion on my hands because I heated up the THCA, so it's now THC, and it actually will, be a topical, I think. When the school district realizes how much money they could save, especially on textbooks with hemp, anyway, the Willie Nelson thing is there's a petition my husband signed, and I'll see if I can find the link. And his son is doing a petition to have hemp growing in Kentucky, and they made a hemp American flag, which looked amazing, and they want to present it to Congress, I believe, July 4th. So if they present a hemp flag to Congress July 4th, I'll bet you I know what's going to happen July 1st or before, and that is something's going to be legalized. Because if they show up with a flag and still nothing's been done, the country's going to start just laughing at people. There's going to be TV comedies making fun of these people. They're getting themselves into a dilemma where how can you possibly take them seriously as adults and leaders when they're making a joke out of themselves by ignoring this issue? Okay, so let's I'm going to read this to you. Okay, this is from a website called anewdomain.net. And many of these websites that pick these up are not necessarily name brand, news sites. So this is what became the first red flag, and there was many. But this one's actually trying to talk the story up. So let's read. Updated DEA to reclassify marijuana effectively legalizing medical cannabis, report says 1 day ago. 29 comments. The DEA will officially reclassify cannabis as a prescription-only Schedule II drug on August 1st, 2016, a report published a few hours ago claims. If true, that means medical cannabis could be legal by prescription and perhaps only by prescription in all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and the U.S. territories, updated 6/20/2016. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Agency will legalize medical cannabis nationwide on August 1st, 2016, according to an unnamed DEA lawyer quoted in Santa Monica Observer report a few hours ago. DEA officials back in February said they were considering whether cannabis should be a Schedule I drug, the DEA strictest designation. Update. Scroll down the fold to read the DEA's 26-page memo to lawmakers. Okay, examples of other Schedule I drugs in the U.S. and LSD, heroin, something, and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, methamphetamines, drugs believed to have high abuse potential and little or no medical value. We are waiting official comment from the DEA to confirm the report. If the story's single anonymous source is correct, the agency has made a decision to put medical marijuana in the same league as legal prescription-only drugs like Adaliphi or Adderall, Oxycontin, Xanax, and precaucet or something, the DEA plans to reclassify marijuana as a Schedule II drug on August 1st, the source told the paper, adding, whatever the law may be in California, Arizona, or Utah, any other state, because of federal preemption, which happened before and who cares, this will have the effect of making THC products legal with a prescription in all 50 states. In other words, that would water down the entire prescription deal, because it would not be the same as oxycodone, and that would stand in court. And if the DEA is planning to do this, if this is their seriously hot idea to try to fight legalization, it is pathetic, hobbling, and crippled. It is sad, really. I mean, it's really sad, because Prohibition did nothing in the last 30 years. This is, you got to be kidding me, you know? This will do absolutely nothing for you. You turn all the medical marijuana patients into dealers is what you're doing. Geniuses. The Congress will have to act. They won't have a choice. Oh, famous line from Donald Trump. Yes, you always have a choice. You have flee, fight, or die. There are always at least 3 choices, and probably more in reality. You never don't have a choice. Just you may not like those choices. Okay, the reclassification would force Colorado and Washington and Oregon and Washington, D.C., which has made cannabis legal for recreational use, to revert to prescription-only cannabis status. Yeah, I'd love to see that. The DEA lawyer suggested, not likely. If the DEA attempted to completely override the vote of Americans in any state for any reason, there are a lot of people that don't like government overreach, and that would be the highest government overreach ever, is to just overturn a law you passed in your state. Oh, son, you better get back. That would make a, oh, wow. Wow, that could start a real row. Downgrading Schedule I drugs is exceedingly rare, according to the Brookings Institute. Yeah, now they're building on stuff that was said before. At this writing, late Saturday evening, Pacific time, DEA officials could not be reached for comment, because it's not real and they're not going to comment. They're not going to get suckered into commenting. Okay, at this writing, 25 states in the District of Columbia have laws. Okay, now we're going to say something that everybody knows. And I'm not going to read stuff that is like past history, and all of us stoners are pretty clear on. In recent years, the feds have indicated that it would nonetheless give states the freedom. Okay, this is past history, past history, past history. But the feds are free to change their minds, past history. Even if the U.S. stays committed to its fairly new hands-off attitude to state-legalized cannabis, its Schedule I classification makes it difficult for scientists and pharmaceutical companies who aim to research its health benefits, counter randications of medical benefits, to have jumped through all sorts of, you know what, and also I don't like the way this person is explaining that. They purposely tied up the research for marijuana because they did not want anyone to find out that their lies were lies. And if you could actually do research like so many Americans did on their own as guinea pigs smoking pot during Prohibition, you found out the government's lying to you. This is, whatever this is sad. Whatever this is supposed to do is lame. But if cannabis is reclassified as a Schedule II substance, everything changes. We know this. That's why he said, once cannabis is reclassified, what, you took an entire paragraph to just revisit one dude's fucking comment. Okay, will legal medical cannabis clinics fight the DEA's plan? What on anything God's name do you have to draw on that? You don't, okay, first off, there's no proof this story is true, and this lady's already written, will legal medical cannabis clinics fight the DEA's plan? What plan? What plan? None of this has been proven to be true. You see how they do this? Okay, so, have you decided to follow the alien overlords that have just landed? What are you talking about? Well, You got to take sides, man. Are you going to be on the alien side or not? What aliens? What the fuck are you talking? She skipped right to some. It's like, let's just skip past it. It doesn't exist. Right into speculation. Yeah, bullshit. Why now? Okay, no, I'm not reading this. This is just building up and trying to create one lie into a bigger lie. Oh, the magic of the media. They can make a story out of nothing, a sneeze, and boom, they're going to write a fucking 3-paragraph fucking story about it. Update. Here is a 26-page letter the DEA sent. Okay, now they're still trying to back it up by publishing a letter that was sent out April 16th that is not some kind of new revelation and only backs up the fact that they are considering reclassifying this summer and they will make an announcement. No one knows how that announcement will go. The DEA has been very careful, along with lawmakers and the FDA, to keep their communications close to their chests, unless they feel it necessary to leak it. Where was the necessity here? Okay, so I went to the original story and I looked at it, and basically it's another one of these websites where all the stories are basically taken from someplace else, right? So Tom Engel said that what he had gleaned from this was the person that reported this interview with the DEA lawyer in California has only been writing for 2 weeks, has only written like 1 story, 2 stories. Has never existed before that time. These are all major red flags. This is completely a hoax. But it's a hoax with a purpose. You see what I'm saying? The DEA has played everything so close to the chest. This is a way to try to... It's like if you were walking around school and you knew that probably the teachers were going to change the rules to something like no cell phones. You could go ahead of time and say that the rule is actually going to be more reasonable or worse and spread that rumor, and then they would have to react to it because now you created something that doesn't exist. Donald Trump does it all the time. You created something that doesn't exist. It becomes a fucking non-problem, becomes a problem. Something that never existed before suddenly is now a problem. And this is just part of politics. This is just the magic of politics. You have to create controversy where there are none. So, tell me about your little town. Is there any trouble? Anything I should be, can take advantage of? Oh no, it's a quiet little town. Everybody's very happy. Oh no, we got to find a reason for everybody to take up a boys band. We got to find some kind of trouble. Is there anything new around here? Anything people are talking about? Well, the pool hall. Ooh, yes, the pool hall. I can use that. We got trouble right here in River City. Pool. It's influencing the children. It's bad for the children. What about the children? Pool hall didn't do shit. Pool hall's like, what the hell did I? What? Huh? What? What happened? You never know when you're going to be used as a scapegoat, So this is a way to try to goat or troll the DEA, in my opinion, to make a statement that will give us some idea of what's going to happen. And a lot of people need to know what happens because people like Microsoft are going to invest, in technologies that will help this upcoming new market. And they need to know, and their stockholders need to know, that everything is green lights straight ahead, just like marijuana growers and stuff need to know that. That's money information. So how do you get that? You start fucking with people and trying to get them to slip up and say something. Maybe this reporter was doing that, but I highly doubt that some obscure reporter in California managed to get the scoop of the century, that something that should be on the cover of like the New York Times or the LA Times or something, not some backwater rag. If that's the way news is working today, we have a major problem. Now, a second story I want to tell you about this morning even though that was a crazy story outright by itself, there's another one that's floating around that I don't know what to think of. Is this true? I believe it is. Okay, and that is that Senator Farr is going to introduce a bill to allow research for marijuana. Okay, so I had to dig a little bit to find this, but it says this is newsbout.com. This is what I mean. Where are these new news sites coming from? You know, and why are they getting scoops? And the regular news is like, is this real? Is this really happening? And if it is, what does it mean for the newspapers and the news agencies? Are they really that slow in the go that they're just missing some of the biggest stories of the fucking century? You know, Farr to introduce bipartisan marijuana research bill Sunday, June 19th. Santa Cruz Sentinel Tommy writes, Washington, D.C. Representative Sam Farr, Democrat Carmel, plans on introducing a bipartisan bicameral, I don't know what that is, bicameral bill this week that, I'm sorry, I couldn't even figure that word out, bicameral, bicameral, Bic lighter, I don't know, bicameral, I don't know what the fuck that means. Okay, bill this week that would make it easier for researchers to study marijuana. This bill is about helping people, Farr said in a press release. Now I have to go and read more where it actually originates. Santa Cruz Sentinel. When I first went to the Santa Cruz Sentinel, I couldn't find this page because I went with a direct link and it was like page not found. And now, boom, it's back. Interesting. Because I originally discovered this from Tom Engel again. Okay, so Reps is like a gold mine of information. Okay, Rep. Sam Farr, a Democrat Carmel, plans to introduce a bipartisan bill. This bill is about helping people, Farr said in press release. As more states pass their own medical marijuana laws, it's time for Congress to examine federal policy. The bill does just that by supporting research. So policy decisions about the role of medical marijuana are based on science and fact instead of rhetoric. Farr will introduce the bill with Rep. Andy Harris, Republican, Rep. Earl Blumenauer, and Democrat, a Democrat from Oregon, and Rep. H. Morgan Griffith, Republican, looks like Virginia. A similar bill will be introduced in the Senate by Senator Brain Schatz, Democrat Hawaii, and Orrin Hatch, Utah, Chris Coons, Democrat Delaware, Orrin Hatch is a Republican, and then Senator Tom Tillis, Republican. Some shit's happening, if this is true. And as a physician who has conducted National Institute of Health-sponsored research, I can't stress enough how critical this legislation is to the scientific community, said Harris, a former Johns Hopkins hospital physician. In a prepared statement, our drug policy has never intended to act as an impediment to conducting legitimate medical research. We need empirical. Thank you. I love that word, empirical. Oh, mwah, that word is mwah. Empirical means that you are doing it impassionately and you're doing it with fucking scientific backing up and no bullshit and not a cop standing there going, well, in my 20 years of experience, my 30 years of experience, if I put one of those uniforms on, I think that I would find every day of my life was shitty too. You know, it's part of the job. When your face is stuck in a blowtorch all day, expect to come away a little bit sour. And cops are sour, okay? Teachers are sour. It's part of the job. It's a burnout job. It burns you out. And it burns you out because your face is scraped on the ground every day for a paycheck. And of course, you come away with a million stories about how the world is falling apart. But the rest of us really aren't experiencing that. And there's a hell of a lot more of us than the guys in uniform. I'm sorry. But our lives are not shit, and we have you to thank for that. But you have to realize that that's a job that creates burnout, and a lot of times what we're hearing is exactly that. Not experience, not anecdotes. It's really anger, burnout, and why isn't my union doing more for me? You know. Okay, so Farr will introduce the bill with Rep. Andy Harris, blah, blah, blah. As physicians who, okay, blah, I read that. The Medical Marijuana Research Act of 2016 would create a less cumbersome registration process specifically for marijuana research with the hopes of reducing approval wait times, costly security measures, and unnecessary layers of protocol review. The bill would make it easier for researchers who receive approval to obtain the needed marijuana for their study through reforms in both production and distribution regulation. Oh boy, I love how in one sentence they hide a huge fucking nut. Here's a Pandora's box of sentence right here. Let me open it up for you. Okay, the bill would make it easier for researchers who receive approval to obtain the needed marijuana and not from fucking West Virginia or whatever this fucking college is that has a playground, I swear to God, it's the size of a soccer field or less. And that's where they grow all the marijuana that you're allowed to research that represents all the marijuana and for all the patients in all the world. And it's like the size of a postage stamp. See, they're saying we need reforms. No, that means that NIDA, or whatever the fucking National Institute of Drug whatever, needs to go fuck off and drop dead because they couldn't produce fucking marijuana to save their ass. They're the worst source. You should go directly to the growers, directly to the patients, and directly and get those genetics and fucking start studying them. And forget the shit, dirt weed, Mexican grass shit crap that they fucking produce in that fucking hobbling bullshit program, NIDA. It's a joke. You gotta be kidding me. You're going to research all the different medical things that this plant can do through that tiny ass field and a few samples. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. I've grown enough weed to know that there are massive differences in how you grow it, what you're using, whether it's in the pot or the soil outside, whether it's direct sunlight, whether it's indoors, changes the very character of what this plant can do. But these backwards, knuckle-dragging, breathing fucking Neanderthals in the government have been playing this game so long, and then they hide the fact that they have to make major reforms, not, oh, we hit. Not in one sentence. It's not worth one sentence. It's worth a whole fucking other story. There should be a whole other story about how NIDA is not the fucking representation or the end-all be-all to get your marijuana to test. You need to go to the guy down the street because he's got the dank and you want to test that because that shit is real. Well, I don't know what the fuck shit crap. And it's probably like this that they're growing. You're going to test this? I wouldn't have people coming in my fucking garden and going, yes, we'd like to research all of marijuana based on your efforts. I'd be like, no. That's a dumb idea. So that pisses me off. They hide an entire huge issue inside just this one fucking paragraph. That really angers me, you know. Oh, that really pisses me off. Okay. I'm gonna jump through this a little bit more. The Medical Marijuana Research Act, blah, blah, blah. Okay, despite the fact that over 200 million Americans now have legal access, 200 million really, to some form of medical marijuana, federal policy is blocking science. It's outrageous. Yeah, okay, yes, we know. The bill will also allow private manufacturing and distribution of marijuana for the sole purpose of research. Thank you. from people that actually know how to grow, or is it going to be like the LPs in Canada where we got a bunch of people that never had anything to do with marijuana and now they're experts? Now they're all experts. Oh my God. And the government's an expert. Oh my God. Something that they had a prohibition for like fucking 30 years or 80 years or whatever. Now they're fucking experts. They're fucking experts. And let's just ignore everybody that fought this battle and yes, did illegal stuff, because honestly, I think El Chapo would know more about weed than fucking these idiots in the goddamn government. Maybe somebody ought to ask him, because he seems to have a little more experience. And now these guys are going to come try to roll up and tell me now we're experts. You're like children. You're like that kid who never got high, and you're like hanging around the cool kids, and we're all kind of worried about you. Yeah. Yeah, well, Billy's never done any kind of, Billy came to the party. Yeah. Now we can't have fun. Yeah. All right. My point is that these things are wonderful, but the government was the ones that have thrown the monkey wrench into this research for 30 years. Why in the fuck should I believe that they're going to do it right this time? At all. And particularly looking at what they do with pharmaceuticals scares the shit out of me. They're going to put it in a pill. You watch. They're going to try to put a plant in a pill, and I'm going to make a bunch of posters and artwork making fun of them for trying to shove Mother Nature into a pill. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature. I could see the entire campaign coming now. I could just see it. Try to put it in a pill and see if I don't fuck you up your ass. This better look as natural and wholesome as the future that all of us want to see. And I don't know how to say it, but people from World War II and the lucky few generation and the baby boomers loved processed canned food and everything in a pill and everything looking futuristic and modern. And they wanted to believe that there was a miracle in a pill. And they left the natural world fucking behind. And now we are completely detached, both through our food and everything else from the natural world. We have to take kids to a farm or something to show them cattle or something to let them know, no, we kill animals. That's where this hamburger just doesn't grow this way. Because we're completely detached now. And that's the fuck up. That's what this next generation and the millennials don't want any more of. There has to be a happy medium. Okay, so all these manufacturing companies and everybody with jobs, they're going to want to hear that, but too goddamn bad. I'll tell you what, you're going to find your life is a lot happier with a machine that works by itself, and all you got to do is water it and feed it and keep the pests off of it, and that machine does the job for you. And then you go out and process the material that machine has created for you. That is a hell of a lot nicer life than you on a fucking assembly line making pills, son. That machine is destroying the atmosphere. The machine I fucking work with doesn't. I'm telling you, you try this fucking putting in a pill shit and I will come and shove that up your ass. It will be a suppository of pain. Because I got all the fucking arguments for that you are full of it. Let's take roses and shove them in a pill. Tomatoes. Why don't we just eat all our food in a pill? What are we, astronauts in space? Knock it the fuck off. We live on Earth. We get to enjoy these plants. We ain't gonna act like we're fucking on a Soviet fucking satellite fucking sucking food out of a goddamn toothpaste tube. And our medicine and shit. That's what I'm sick of with these fuckers. If it don't work for their manufacturing and their stockholders, then it don't get to exist. Well, their stockholders can burn in hell. Guess what? Reinvest, bitch. Think about reinvesting, dumbass. Stop holding on to the past, All right. So I didn't finish this story because it's just really super aggravating to me, because I just sense that there is still going to be a resistance, and they're still trying to twist and come up with ideas that are going to fail them. And that's what I'm going to talk about next. Okay, so let's finish the story. The bill would allow private manufacturing and distribution of marijuana for the sole purpose of research. There are countless reports of marijuana's medical benefits, but patients, doctors, pharmacists, and policymakers must have more to rely on than anecdotal evidence. That is absolutely correct. Griffith said in a statement, removing the barriers that prevent further research on marijuana's medical benefits and possible side effects is the right thing to do, plain and simple, and always was. Okay, so I added the always was. Okay, what's important about this is that science has been terribly harmed by politics and lobbyists, and that we have a skewed idea of what our reality is, just like we did when religion was in charge and the world was flat, and if you said otherwise, you might get tortured. You might be called a heretic, not because you're wrong. Oh no, even the church thinks you're right. It's because the church had interpreted the Bible to say it was flat, and we can't contradict that, even though it's obviously a contradiction. Because that diminishes our power. Sorry, Nostradamus or whatever the fuck, not Nostradamus, but you know what I mean. I can't remember what the fuck his name is, that was like talking about the world being flat, but still, the idea is, and could prove that was round, and was not the center of the universe and shit, that everything moved around the sun. The point is, the guy was right. He wasn't doing anything wrong. Everybody thought that was cool until he threatened somebody's fucking position. Then they came after him like gangbusters, and it hurt everybody except the dicks that come after him. See? And in the long run, it hurts them up the ass. Now, as soon as the lie gets figured out, it's like, now we can't even believe you about anything else. And they're like, oh, no. Yeah. And then it becomes a guilt trip. They got to throw a guilt trip because they no longer have the force of truth that comes from trust, because they have destroyed the trust that they had with their parishioners, with the people in their church, right? Because they lied. Well, this is what's happening now to our government. They said that they work on science. They said they work for the best, the best for the people of the United States. And we come to find out, no, they're not. They're working for lobbyists. I think this entire battle has been very educational to teach us about how, corporations work, how lobbyists work, how the police works, how the DEA works, and how we are basically destroying people's lives so that a few scumbags can make a little bit of money so that they can do the jobs that they're supposed to do, because without taking advantage of a few fucking poor people and their families and keeping them down, then, oh, I couldn't do my job, which is blackmail and illegal, If you don't let me harass these people, then I won't have enough money to do my job, and I can't patrol the streets for your rich ass. That's called blackmail. How long until you think they don't come for you, Okay, so I think that these two stories, the one about Farr introducing a bipartisan bill, that there's another bipartisan bill coming up, and the possibility of the DEA rescheduling are indications of where we're at right now. Everybody's fishing. See, everybody's trying to gauge, is it time to act? Introducing bills. They're going to see where the votes are. They're going to see what the mood is. They're going to, because even if things fail, okay, even if things fail, you're still finding a way, like a Mark Twain. You're finding the depth of where the boat is. See, you're finding out if there's shallows. You're finding out if it's deep water. You're finding out where your best and safest route through this mess is, because everything is compromise. Okay, and that's the next thing I want to go into. Nobody likes the idea that rescheduling might create a situation where recreational marijuana is illegal. Doesn't matter. Recreational marijuana was always illegal, and it's going to be found to be a civil right. In the end, that's what's going to happen. Okay, that it doesn't harm you. If it's found to be a medicine, then there's no goddamn reason why it should be controlled. It's not fucking oxycodone. All of this is going to stand in court. So whatever these pathetic, hobbling lawyers are dreaming up, it's all going to fall apart sooner or later, and it'll probably create more problems for them than for us in the long run, just as it has with prohibition overall. It has created larger problems for conservatives that and people that backed it. Even the Clintons have to live with the successes that they had when they were more blue dog, and felt that there were super predators and stuff like that. That success that helped them achieve success in the 80s and 90s or whatever it now hobbles them when people have changed their minds. So, and this is true for us, and that's what I want to get to. It's like another big concept. Can't have an all-out win. An all-out win means that you pushed your opponent to the brink of jumping off a cliff and they're gone and their prodigy's gone and everybody's gone, because that's the only way you can win that kind of a contest. Eventually, an all-out win, a carpet bomb kind of a win, always leaves people and kids and family members angry, looking for revenge. A compromised win allows those people some dignity, and then they don't come back at you so fucking hard. What did we do wrong in World War I? We negotiated too stringently or too harshly against the German people. We fucking made them pay for the entire fucking war. We thought that was funny, I guess. I don't know. But it was literally how we got into World War II, because you pushed them into a corner. Expect your opponent to fight like the beast will come out at them if you push them all the way to a corner. So politically, you have to allow your opponent an opportunity to flip the script or escape in some way. Because if you outright destroy them, you make a martyr out of them. And that others will rise in their place. See? A negotiated compromise win leaves something for the next generation to be pissed at you about and say, why didn't you fix this? Hey, I got what I could, man. And if I tried to get it all, it would have been worse. That's your job. Your job is to fix what comes after this. I can't get it all. I got prohibition lifted. Isn't that good enough? You're going to be pissed at me because I wasn't perfect? I'm committed to my convictions, but I've had enough experience with unions and stuff to realize you can't win every aspect of the battle. We won World War II, then Russia took half of fucking Germany and put a wall up, and we had to live with that consequence for a long time until it was finally stopped. And Russia itself, in some way, collapsed and has rebuilt itself in a very different way than what I grew up with, in the 70s and stuff. So, because I went through all that Cold War shit, and this is very different. This is a very different experience than that. We don't like Putin, but he's more like a celebrity we don't like an evil celebrity or something like that kills people. But it's not like Hitler or something like this. It isn't like the way things used to be. The world is a much different place than when I was growing up, okay? I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so a compromised win brings out, in my opinion, better results, because then you don't have the backlash of blowback. The FBI, the DEA, all these guys know that if you make a big bust, you make a big hit on terrorists, there's going to be blowback. You can't get an all-out win without there being consequences. Inside your win is your future fail. See? Your win, like Obama, he won so big, and he promised so much, and when he couldn't achieve it all, it broke his followers' hearts in many ways, and they had to compromise their belief in him. And I think they're fine, and they're happier. You couldn't have had everything you wanted. You got more than I expected anybody to get. Well, I got more than I expected, considering that I come from a time when people said it would never be legalized, ever, So if you think about where I'm coming from, this is amazing. This is god dang amazing. I mean, just that we're even talking about, well, medical's okay, but recreational, I'm like, you have no idea how amazing that is. I remember a time when you couldn't even talk to a teacher in class seriously about this. I had to pin one down on the quad. You know, my history teacher and go, okay, tell me seriously, do you think that marijuana is going to be legalized? Because this is a very important issue to me. And he was like, not in my lifetime. Maybe not in yours. He was serious. And he was not being disrespectful. He took my questions seriously. He was a very cool guy. And he knew this was a political, he was like, not in this conservative atmosphere. And that was the Reagan era. That was when Reagan was president. Right after he fucking almost got our, in trouble with Russia because he put all our embassies on alert or some shit like that, or bases, because one was attacked. He scared the shit out of Russia, and Russia almost dropped a bomb on us because he was a genius. Everybody, he's a great communicator. He's a fucking idiot. He just looked good. I used to call him, head him off at the past Reagan when I was a kid in elementary school because I didn't like the way he talked. He was like, we're going to take on Russia. We're going to take on Russia. We're going to take on Russia. It was like fucking a Western. I'm like, this is not the way adults teach me to deal with my problems. You know, there's a glaring difference there between the way people ask me to behave in school and the way apparently people that are running for office behave. They want to fight everybody in the earth. If I went around doing that, I'd have a counselor on my ass. You seem to be having emotional issues with others. You don't play well with others. Compromise. All out win? No. All out win? I mean, you would think that would work. And if it did, then why isn't everything all out won? Okay. So I think I brought this example up before to try to, help activists. Forgive yourself for not getting everything that you had hoped to achieve. You reached for the shining star, but you came away with the moon base. Moon base alpha, I think you should be pretty happy with that. Let the kids get the shining star. Leave something for the kids to do. They need something too. And they need something to be mad at us about and feel like they could do shit better. Like I felt about, So I think it's a compromised win is a good thing. Okay. So even though this is not perfect, how long do you think this is going to last? Seriously, it's hobbling on one leg already. Well, it's medically fine and not dangerous and less dangerous than alcohol. But we can't have it recreational. You must be kidding. That'll last for 5 minutes before it gets blown down. Every person on earth that's standing in a bar with a beer you could argue with saying, hey man, what's that thing in your hand? Yeah. That's where the argument even begins. Every football season. Every time there's drunk driving fucking stops on a holiday or Cinco de Mayo or something. If you'd let everybody smoke weed, this would be so much better for everybody. Why are you making them choose the poison? Seems like you want them to get into trouble. It's going to work. It just may not work as immediately as we want. And what I'm telling you is that this was an impossible battle until just recently. And once we began to have the debate, look how quickly we were able to beat back the bullshit, including old studies of suffocating monkeys and saying that marijuana, and it's making you insane and all this shit. It was like slap, slap, bap, slap, bap. They'd come up with it. It'd hang out for 6 months. Here comes another study. Bap, bip, slap, boop, bip you in the head. Bop, boop. Bap, bip, you don't matter. It was like a joke. They would come up with the most outrageous shit. It harms teens. Teens will increase it. I mean, think about all the things that they spewed. You know what it is? It's Chicken Little. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. After a while, everybody's going, shut the fuck up, chicken. You know, all I needed to do was to get Chicken Little talking. Chicken Little was going to lose. The more Chicken Little talked, the more you get the guy in the uniform with the badge to say marijuana makes you crazy, the more you're going to win. They don't even want to say it. They know better now. I first saw the tip-off in Trayvon Martin. I'm in Twitter. I'm debating like a shit with millions of other people about the Trayvon Martin case. And then came the moment where they got the stuff from his social media file that was talking about marijuana. And I said, I'm not saying it was me, but I said that marijuana prohibition has always been a racist issue. And people knew that, you know. And at the time, there was like the vote in Florida, I guess, or it was about the time that we were considering these votes. And literally, the lawyer went, no, psh, psh, we got to back off that. You could tell that the legal team for, what's his name, the idiot, wannabe cop, wannabe mall security idiot, loser moron, okay, they wanted to drop the marijuana issue because they could see it was not going to work for them the way that they wanted. As a matter of fact, this case was going to be a poster child for how that kind of prohibition is used to turn a case that should be for the kid into against the kid. The kid is now the villain because he smoked pot, see? I began to see the change there when they went, psh, 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 hey, let's not push that so much. And other people went, boom, push it. And you could tell it was backfiring. You could tell it was backfiring. That's when I knew. We were at that moment where I could win this argument. Just here, let me get out here. I've been waiting to say this for a damn long time to people. And I've been saying it now for like a year or so, that this is the story. This is what needs to happen. I've been thinking about it for 30 years, and many of you just woke up. And I'm here to tell you, not because I want to get high. Yes, I do. But not because of that. Don't think, I wouldn't throw everything in society away just because I want to get high. Don't be ridiculous. That's really insulting, you know? Okay, but I knew this had to be done, that it had to be done because it wasn't just about whatever issues that they kept pointing out, that it went deeper than that, that there was so much hidden in this, like the lotion, like the fact you can make houses out of it, like the hemp seed as food and is better than chia seeds and helps the heart more than chia seeds, and yet chia seeds are sold all over the fucking place and hemp seeds hard to get because they can't manufacture it in America. They have to manufacture it in like China and shit, and we buy all our hemp seed from them, right? I knew that this was a bigger issue than me and my little pipe, and they were using me and people like me as a Cheech and Chong caricature to keep an entire industry down. And I was like, this is the right thing to do. This is more important than the female president. I want the female president badly, but I'm not fighting for that as hard this time in this election as I am for this, because in my opinion, this affects so many more people, and it is dangerous. It affects how we view science and critical thinking and empirical thinking. Oh, how I love that word. I want to be a lord of the empirics, okay? Of an adventure in life that is approached with passion, but empiric thought, you know? I want passion, but I don't want my passion to dissuade my rationality. Ooh, that's the world I want, and I can't get it with prohibition. I understand the passion and fear people have, but it is you're jump scaring. You're in a haunted house, man. I mean, seriously, somebody's taking you on the fucking tunnel of love, and you're falling for it, and you're in their arms. And they're like, yes, dear, I'll take care of you. Just as I planned it. And now I have my hand on her boob. You know? Somebody's taking you through the tunnel of love, and they're getting a feelie. And you're stupid enough to let them do it because you're a dumb, stupid Scaredy cat. Save me. Big strong government, save me. Big strong government wants to take advantage of you in the car, in the parking lot, stupid. Wake the fuck up. Anyway, so I think a lot of this is symbols of where we're going. We have to be satisfied with somewhat of a compromised win. It's going to be a major win. But we're not going to get all the bells and whistles we reached for. And we're going to have to be satisfied with that. And calm and rational and realize, oh no, whatever they dream up as a hobbling, crippled attempt to fight this is not going to survive because it doesn't have the type of force that Prohibition had. And it never will. And it has to actually deal with the ramifications of a lie, which are huge. You lose your honor. Honor is trust. You guard your honor more than you guard your life. You can live, but you can't live without honor. Not in a social society. No one will trust you. No one will believe in you. You will be isolated. No one will give you resources. No one will back you up. No one will believe you, Chicken Little, ever again. And you'll be like the town fool. You know, losing your honor is very bad. And no PR company can bring it back. All the king's horses and all the king's men are not going to put Trumpty Dumpty back together again. He's destroyed his honor. You know, the government's done the same thing. There's no coming, you know, how do you fix that? You don't. You did that yourself. You gave it away yourself. Freely. Nobody took it. You can't get it back. Not especially when you gave it away. So that's what I'm seeing, is that there's these things happening that are kind of test poking, trolling, trying to find out information from the DA. Where's this going to go? Is this really going to happen? And threats of, well, if it happens, it will completely destroy recreational marijuana. Yeah, I would love for you to tell everybody in the 6th largest economy in the world, here in California, that their attempt to make marijuana recreational is not going to be allowed by this federal government, and see if you don't have a major fucking problem with the 6th largest economy in the world. See how long that goes on. Because these people here, they want to make some money. The towns need money. The towns need fucking tax money. This is a golden goose. And you're going to try to rip it out of our hands? Oh, honey, no. That's a whiskey rebellion. You're going to end up hurt. Really bad. I wouldn't play with it. But it'll be fun to watch. And I know who's going to end up winning. If I was putting my money on a horse right here, it would be Paul Revere. It ain't you, son. It ain't you and your prohibitionist sneaky ass fucking trying to figure out how to trick the law away. You're doomed. This is just you trying to stay afloat longer so you can be tortured longer. You're stupid. You know, you should have flipped it and ran ahead of it and got control of it right away. But instead, all you're doing is playing catch up. The government, all they're doing is playing catch up. Tripping and falling. What did I say? They'd be tripping and falling over themselves to try to figure out how to stop this. This is their crippled, hobble, fucking, you gotta be kidding me way that they think they're gonna fight this? You gotta be kidding. I mean, I'm laughing at you. Seriously? I'm sorry. You know, okay. So I will let you go and let you think about these ideas and let you think about negotiate a compromised win. Don't be afraid of that. Your enemy will try to come back, but if you defeat your enemy utterly, it's not going to garner respect, it will garner fear. And fear is not more powerful than respect. And they are not the same thing, and they are not interchangeable. Fear brings people after you. Things that make me afraid, I want to destroy. Things clear across the world I hear about make me afraid. I want to send my spirit there to destroy. You know? Things that don't make me afraid, I let go and let live and live and let live. So, you know, that's why the news is always trying to make everybody scared. Donald Trump's perfect. Perfect example of that. I mean, he's like he is the guy in the tunnel of love with his arm around you going, there, little girl. Yeah, watch it. His hand's getting up your cooch. You know, that guy's a scum. Get the fuck out of the tunnel of love with him. You know, but he's a good example. He's just there to rev you up and make you think that we don't have a choice. Bullshit. And I sure has got a choice not to be with you, son. Okay? So, don't worry. Even in Canada, don't worry, because I can see the argument, and the argument is winnable. All you have to do is get to the place where you get to make that argument. And that it shows that this is not just profitable for you, for consumers, but for them. And you can get past their little yes men and their little, you know, Grimer worm tongues that pour fucking poison in their ear and tell them all kinds of whispery lies about you and about your industry and how they shouldn't believe you, and they're stabbing that king in the back. You know, so just don't worry about that. You're going to beat their ass. They are nothing. They're just there. It's like, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't be as cool as you are. Thank God for all these fucking crippled ass morons, because I'd be a nobody. I'd be like uninteresting if I didn't have this major fun thing to fight, you know, every single day for the last 30 years. I wouldn't have been an amazing person. I'd have been really fucking boring. But they made me amazing because I rose to the occasion that they created. It's just part of life. And it's going to happen again and again and again. There's going to be some dickhead, some murderer, some shooter, some idiot, some politician, some crooked moron. And the hero is going to rise right out of somebody amongst the very common clay. Up rose exactly what nature needed to fix this problem. You know? So really, it's like it's like fire that creates tempered steel. Okay, without it, you'd just be kind of soft iron. You know, without going up against Donald Trump, I don't know what the Republican Party would be. It'd be kind of fucking stupid looking and lame. Thank God, in some ways, Donald Trump showed up because he's so horrible that even the Republican Party is starting to say, you know, we need to change some things. That's amazing. That's amazing they would even consider it, you know. They've been so up their ass for 30 years. That's why they lose all the time. Donald Trump is where they actually see, holy shit, if this guy actually runs against Hillary Clinton, we're going to lose the House. We're going to lose. There's going to be a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic House, and they're going to get whatever they want for 4 years. Because Donald Trump will have destroyed the opportunities of maintaining the House. Because he is such a toxic personality. There are Republican politicians that are too afraid to stand next to him because he's literally a black hole sucking up light. Anybody that's attached their name to him, Chris Christie, they're gone. When he's destroyed, they will be destroyed too. He's an albatross. He's a poison pill. He's perfect. It's exactly kind of what I was saying before. There's a line from my Claudius. Claudius says when he's emperor and he knows Nero's trying to poison him, his wife and Nero, his son, is trying to poison him. He says, let him. You know, Rome is corrupt. And the only way that it's going to change and get better for normal people is if Rome falls. And he said, all I'm doing is helping Rome by trying to fix it. And I have to let it go. So he said, let all the poisons in the mud come out. Let all the poisons that lurk in the mud come out. Because when they do, suddenly there are less poisons. It's amazing. When they're hiding, they're fine. But when you drag them out into the light, they fuck themselves in the ass so hard because they're stupid and they think that they are smart enough to have control of things. They come out and they, look at Nero. What happened to him? You know? Every time he killed something or burned something up, he'd fucking collect a tear. I feel so sad for having killed that wife. I'll put that there. You know, fucking look what happened to him. People ran into his fucking, palace, stabbed the shit out of him. He couldn't have enough Christians thrown to lions to keep him entertained, to keep him up out of his palace and keep him from stabbing him because he kept fucking up, man. So Claudius was absolutely right in the end. Let these dickheads take over. They'll destroy the whole fucking place, and these nice people can start over again with something better based on our ideas, and hopefully the Republic will return. Because that's what Claudius was the most pissed about. He was pissed that fucking Caesar had declared himself a god, and you can't argue with Caesar anymore, and therefore the Senate was practically fucking hobbled, and the Republic was dead. So it wasn't like America. You had a god leading the place. You can't question a god. And of course the gods got worse. Nero, fucking Caligula, they got crazy, Let the poisons in the mud come out, because the poisons cannot fucking stand the light of day. They burn like a fucking vampire. Don't worry. A sparkly fucking skinned vampire. They just fry. Yeah, because they're stupid. They're dying to come out in the light. It's the worst thing they could possibly do. Another example. Blackbeard. Worst pirate in the world. You know why? Because he's famous. You know what he's famous for? Dying. Getting his head cut off. He's so famous for it that they tell a story that his body swam around the ship 3 times. Like he was still somehow had a magical power after death. You know what I mean? But he wasn't a successful pirate. Successful pirates took a little booty and disappeared, and you never heard of them. That's a successful pirate. Blackbeard was a big fucking moron. And I think Donald Trump is kind of like that too. And he's going to end up with his fucking head cut off, and his body's going to swim 3 times around the Republican Party. See if it don't happen. He's walking around swinging his dick way too large. It's going to bring big ass trouble. And it's going to be fun to watch. Prohibition, I'd like to say, is very much like this. Even though the poisons are bad, let them come out. Let them see if they can stand the light of day. I'll bet you they can't. And they lose. Sometimes it's just the best way to deal with things. Also, I got another one. Let a monster kill a monster. Prohibition's a monster. And Congress, well, greed is a monster. So you let greed eat prohibition. And they fight with each other. Like giant dinosaurs in Japan. And the little cities are here. People are like, ah! And here are these monstrous creatures fighting each other. Because we led one of them here because we needed to get rid of the other one. It ain't got enough fucking competition. It's rolling around, fucking destroying everything, taking people's property and shit. Nobody can do anything about it. Get that other monster in here. They may destroy shit, but at least we get rid of one of them fucking ass. And then we take on one, not 2. Spread out, divide and conquer kind of thing. No, we make them monsters fight each other. One of them gets dead, or both if we're lucky, and we can fucking dance away. 7 Samurai, another good example. Get them dumbass fucking samurai to come over here and fight these fucking... They love that shit. They're all warriors. They love that glory and shit. And as soon as they kill each other off, or one kills the other one off, we have less to deal with because we have to deal with both samurais raiding our village and causing war and doing shit. And plus we rip off and kill the samurai and steal their shit when they go running off in the woods after they lost the battle. And we got to deal with these thieves. Fucking set the samurai on the thieves. And we come out fine. Because nobody's attacking us anymore. It's a strategy. It's not a happy-go-lucky one. It's not one necessarily that's like honorable, but it works. And it has worked certainly in this prohibition battle. You got a bunch of greedy-ass fucking congressmen and senators. Set their ass on prohibition. Put some money in their face. Watch it and then anybody like fucking, what's his name? This rich guy that bought I forget his name. But anyway, Adelson. Okay, this rich guy, Adelson, make him spend money till the fucking sky falls down. Burn his money in a fucking fire. Force him to spend money like there's no tomorrow. And then laugh, you know? Like, ha ha ha, what good did that do you? You bought a newspaper, you fought against legalization in Florida, but in the long run you lose. And you spend a bunch of money on it. Make that fucker spend money. Make all his poison come out of the mud. And just burn up in the daylight. It's fun. And it works great. Nobody that's evil can walk around and get their way for too long. It just doesn't come out that way. All right. So that was 54 minutes of rambling and 2 stories. But I think 2 important stories, like many of the other stories I've told recently, where it is indicating, boy, change is coming. Something's coming. Something's in the wind. And I'm not sure what it is. Expect it to be very, very good, but to be compromised. And then don't panic. Laugh at them. Really? You're going to try that? After you just lost 30 years of prohibition? Honey, why do you continue to hit yourself? You know what I mean? Why do you continue to kick yourself in the nuts? Because it looks deranged to us, and we begin to wonder if you should even be allowed to have responsibility for anything. Because you just don't get it. You know, and they're going to try to dissuade and say they're for this, much like Project Sam has, and you've seen how much good it's done for Project Sam. They are crippled, hobbling, pathetic. I mean, give me a break. There is not I'm going to say it again, all the king's horses and all the king's men and all the PR companies on earth cannot put Humpty Dumpty back together again once Humpty falls off that wall. And the problem is that Humpty is a giant fucking glass house sitting on a wall, teetering. The wind blows, Humpty's over, busted into a million pieces. And that's prohibition. Same thing, what's Jesus say? My church is built on the solid rock. Prohibition wasn't. It was doomed to fail. It was doomed. It was doomed from the start. You can see if something is going to work or not. Why something that shouldn't work works for so long is an interesting mystery and an annoyance and an anomaly. But normally, something like prohibition is ridiculous. It's going to end up in a nightmare scenario anyway. And it seems like every time we've tried it, it has. Okay, so I'll let you go. And hopefully I'll re-up soon, although I'm pretty fucking high. This stuff very sativa-ish. I think these are sativa plants because, boy, I feel super energetic and nervous, and I feel like I want to jump up and clean. And that's always a sativa feeling. Like, somebody's coming over to the house, I should straighten up. That's always like the feeling sativa gives me. Some people call it paranoia. I like to use it to clean my house. Like, I start looking around and thinking, you know what? There's some things here I need to take care of. When normally you would be like, oh, that's fine. A little paranoia is not necessarily a bad thing, you know? Makes you get out the duster and start getting rid of the cobwebs that have built up over spring. Okay, so I'll let you go. And you stay high, and goodbye. And I hope that this is making you guys feel so much better about the position that all of us, marijuana users and cannabis users, stoners, are in. You don't have to be ashamed of what or who you are. And you don't have to worry about the bad guys. They were critically erred from the very beginning. They could do terrible things, be terribly dangerous. But in the end, they were always going to lose. It was just written in the stars. The fault is not in their stars. It is in themselves, I guess is the way it is. But their fault is not in their stars. It is in themselves. They made the choice to lie. And when they did that, they incorporated a deadly flaw into their thought process. And over the years, that flaw has become ginormous and now will destroy the entire system. Yeah. Like a cancer. All right. So I'll see you tomorrow.
paved my road when I was 7 or 8 years old, and that spun my world upside down. I mean, I thought I had it made until that point. We rode that school bus that first day, and I came home, and that was the first time I'd ever looked at my own situation and was like, oh, fuck, I'm poor. And I remember thinking, I got to do everything I can to get out of here. You know, I wasn't brought up to think about going to college. I either got a job or I went to the military. My brother served for 16 years. He was a combat medic for a special forces team. He got shot in the back of his helmet by a sniper. They found him unfit for duty and just discharged him with a traumatic brain injury and a whole host of other health problems that him and his family were left just to figure out what they were going to do. And sadly, he's not unique in that aspect of being forgotten and left behind. We have this situation where we have over 1 million military personnel and veterans that receive food stamps every year because they can't feed themselves. That just didn't make a lick of sense to me. I started the Growing Warriors in 2012, just about the same time my brother was transitioning back to Kentucky. When you think about the type of industry that typically takes place in Central Appalachia, you're looking at coal and manufacturing. And those are both very extractive industries. I mean, they pull things out without giving back. Industrial hemp is a community building industry. It's not a let's come in and take what we can get and leave type of industry.
I don't think there's anything more direct, more empowering, or more exciting that you could do for someone in modern society, but help them reconnect in the way that, you know, some of our ancestors had the privilege of that everyday connection. And American hemp could offer that.
We've got enough rain, we got enough water, and we got enough farmers. We got a lot of farmers. We got a lot of small and mid-scale farms out here who are dying to figure out that holy grail of stability.
Industrial hemp has played a key role really in the founding of this country. The cannabis plant can produce a sundry of products that are food, feed, fiber, and fuel that have no psychoactive properties at all. Unfortunately for American farmers, industrial hemp has found its place on Schedule I of the Controlled Substances Act. During the Farm Bill Act, it was just put into law a year ago, there was an amendment to the Farm Bill that would allow research and development of projects at the state level.
Because Kentucky emerged as this political opening, Mike Lewis and Growing Warriors, the nonprofit that he directs, was able to access seed.
We had actually gotten our seed in April of 2014. The DEA didn't agree that we had a right to plant the crop. They said they were going to arrest us for breaking the law. That following Monday, they were in federal court in Louisville, and Judge Rayburn had sided with us. Took our seeds up and got them registered, certified, brought them home, and threw them in the ground really quickly before anybody changed their mind. So this is technically the first hemp crop in Appalachia.
Yes, it is. The first legal harvest. I'm 7th generation, and if you're from eastern Kentucky or Appalachia, there's one thing that you've had in your blood at some point in time, and that's just you've lived off the land.
What's the word in town?
People still kind of standing back and waiting to see what happens. The one question that I get asked the most is, what the hell are you going to do with this stuff?
The grant from Patagonia allowed the veterans to build a machine to actually process their hemp by hand, because there was no infrastructure. They couldn't do it any other way. You learn the quality of the fiber. You learn its texture, its strength.
Right now, you can really feel the farm in the cloth.
The first American flags that were made in this country were made of industrial hemp.
That flag represents what this country could be.
Thank you. This is an extreme privilege and an honor. I would first like to thank every man and woman that has put on a uniform in defense of our fellow citizens. From a simple hemp seed came the means to make the cordage that was converted into the sails and ropes that brought the first explorers to America, and later would feed the printing presses that would organize our first militias and ultimately helped us declare our independence. In 2014, with the help of some fellow veterans, we planted hemp seeds on our farm, and much like those earlier settlers, we embarked on a journey into uncharted waters. We chose to grow and create an American flag on principle, I suppose. As we have lost our connection with the land and the people who fed us, we've lost our sense of community, and more importantly, our sense of place. The flag represents the collective history and future of an entire nation of people, our people. So it shouldn't be made anywhere other than here, and it should most certainly not be made cheaply. In the end, there is more than just fiber that tears and fades when you use cheap goods to hold things together. It is no secret that America needs more farmers, but we need the tools to be successful. And industrial hemp is a cornerstone for financial and resource stability on the family farm. We are just one small team with limited resources, and we took simple seeds and we turned them into this flag that represents the strength and the ingenuity of the American farmer. I can only imagine what wonders we will see when every American farmer has the opportunity to grow this amazing crop. Thank you.